Hi, my name is Nicole Albertson, and I'm a product manager here at E1 Solutions, and here today to talk about building our first list in SmartList Builder, and hopefully be able to take away some of that anxiety of just jumping in and getting started with SmartList Builder. So before we do just jump in, I want to outline the different data we can use when we're going to build this list. And we're going to look at a couple different data types today, but just to outline all of them that are available, you have the Microsoft Dynamics GP tables, which is all of those different tables you use inside of GP, whether it be for the core modules, things like general ledger, payables management, inventory, different modules like that, or some of the add-ons that Microsoft has, like project accounting, manufacturing, human resources, as well as it also includes your third-party add-ons you have in GP. So that's going to be your main one that you probably use a lot, but some of these other ones can be really helpful as well. SmartList is going to allow us to pull in any of those default SmartLists you have that come with GP. It won't be for your third-party ones, but for those core default ones, we can actually pull those in and then use that as a guide to get started. We don't have to build it out from scratch completely. SQL Server Table is going to allow you to pull in any SQL table or view from the same SQL server as your GP databases reside on. That way you can pull in any custom views you've created. Maybe you have some other products that have their SQL databases on that same SQL server. We can pull data in from those and do things like that. SQL scripting, maybe you're more comfortable writing a select statement, or maybe you found one on the web somewhere that pulls in the data you want out of GP. We can take those select statements, use it as a SQL script, and whatever that select pulls will then be pulled right into SmartList Builder and into SmartList or SmartView then. Data connection is really designed for Excel Report Builder, but it works in SmartList Builder, and it's going to pull in the default setup of any of the Excel reports that Microsoft ships. Those refreshable Excel reports, they have been shipping for a while. We can pull in those data connections so that you have that as a starting point. So very similar to the SmartList data type. And lastly, the extender resource. If you're using E1's extender product, it's going to allow us to pull in the data from any of the windows and forms that you've created in extender and bring that into your lists as well. So let's open SmartList Builder. So the first one we're going to do is pull in some data hopefully you're familiar with and use that as a starting point to make one of the lists that Microsoft has a little better. So we're going to use that SmartList table type and get that starting point for us so that we don't have to know the 8, 10, 12 tables that might make up a list. We just pull that SmartList in and can go from there. So what we're going to do is just a simple sales line items, but we want to make some changes to it. So we're going to call this sales lines SLB for SmartList Builder. Just so we know what it is. Now I just have to pick where I want this to go within SmartList and SmartView. So what I'm going to do is pick SmartList Builder, and then we'll just put it in the additional SmartList, meaning it's just going to be in a folder by itself. All these ones that I build in SmartList Builder, kind of put them there, and then I can reorganize if I want to. So how do we start this? We're going to click the Add Table, and then we talked about we want to use that SmartList as a starting point, so I'm going to select that table type. And now you can see the list of SmartLists. Again, it is the ones that you have by default with GP. So we're going to go down and find that sales line items and save it. When I add this, you're going to see that it is all the fields that are on that sales line items. Any of them that are on there by default, so when you run the default list, the field automatically shows up, those are marked. Well, a couple things I don't like about the sales line items. We use notes on our sales transactions, and when you pull it in off the default list, you can only pull in the note index, which is just a number that is assigned in the back end to match that note. Well, I want the actual note. So I'm going to order this by display name and scroll down until we find note index. Okay, now here's the note index. I can do it on the customer, the item, or the sales transaction. So there are different notes when you're building out a sales transaction. I actually want the note from the sales transaction, so I'm going to turn that one on. And what I can do then is instead of calling this note index from sales transaction, I'm just going to call it sales transaction note. So I can change the name that's going to display to be a little bit nicer to the end user. And then as long as I'm still on that field, I'm going to click the field options button and I'm going to turn on the show note. So now it's going to take that index, that number that I get in the back end, and show me a note instead. So we'll save that and we'll take a look at that when we get to SmartView to look at this list. But one other thing before we go there, I don't like that the cost, the price, all of those on a return are still positive. If I'm looking at my list and I'm putting a total on it in Excel or something like that, I want those negative. So what I can do is on, say, the cost field, I can come into the field options again, go to negative values, display as a negative, and I want to display it as a negative based on that sales type, so SOP type, and mark return. By doing that, it's going to make the extended cost negative on a return. Okay, we have the price, the unit cost, unit price, all of those on here. So we'll just do both of our extended pricing ones. And then we'll see the cost is still positive, just to show you what it's doing. So I'm going to save this now. And now what we're going to do is launch SmartView. This will work the same in SmartList, but we're going to use SmartView for our purposes here today. And we put it under SmartList Builder, so we're going to expand that. And here we see that sales line SLB. So let's run that and expand this. And as easy as that, you can see I have this list. Now I might want to change the order of fields. I might want to make some changes to this, but we have our basic list. My transaction notes, you can see this invoice here has 4 or 5 lines on it. So that's why I see that same note 5 times. So we've pulling in that nice note, as well as if I filter this by returns, you can see that our extended cost and our extended price are negative. Whereas if I go back and show all of them, those other types are positive still. So it's kind of that nice visual there, and I don't have to go and make all the returns negative once I get it to Excel or something like that as well. So that's a quick list. We just made a few changes to the sales line item list that we wanted and kind of like to see. Now you can also go to the actual one that is in SmartList and you can modify that one as well. You can see that it pulls up existing instead of new, so it tells me I'm modifying the default one. And I can make those same changes here that I made by creating the new sales line one. That's up to you if you want to modify the default or create a brand new one. So we're going to clear that. And now we're going to create another list using GP tables. So basically what I want is a list of the kit items. So not just the kits, but what components make up those kits. Okay, I don't know what table the kits are held in, so I'm going to go to the inventory series and open the kits window and see what makes up this window. We can do that with SmartList Builder by going to Tools and Table Finder. And now it's telling me that these are the 4 tables that window is made up of. Well, if I want the item number, I can select that field and it says, well, that's in these 3 tables. So yep, it's either item kit master, item master makes sense. Currencies, of course, make sense. And then I could go down and see where is the component items. And now I don't see that in this list. That's in a grid, so I just have to change the window to be the scrolling grid. And now there's that component item number, and it says that's in the item kit master. Okay, well, what I really want is the items that are in that kit item. So that sounds like my best table. From here, I can click Create Smart List, give it ID, and we'll save that, and you're going to see it put that table into SmartList Builder for us. Okay, so it has put that item kit master in here. We have our fields. We just need to mark which ones we want on our list. I don't care what the order is, sequence number. I really don't even care too much about the unit of measure, any of that information. So we'll just do those 3 fields and save this and see what we get in SmartView here. So you can see I have the item, the component item, and how many are of each component are in that item. Okay, that's great, but this item number isn't real descriptive. I'd like to have the description as well. So I can modify this. Now I can go back to that table finder and find that table. I happen to know it's called the item master. So we'll just go find that. And now I have to link it on. So I'm going to link it to the item kit master and say where the item number matches the item number in this item master, give me that data. So we'll save that, and I just want the description. Now I also want the item description for the component item number, so I'm going to add that item master on here again. This time though, we're going to link it on not the item number, which it pulls in by default. We're going to say on that component item number in the kit master, then go match the item. And we'll see it come on again. Now I'm going to change this to component item description and add that and save this. And so now we can see that I have the item description. If I drag these columns around, here's the main kit, and we can see that it looks like it's duplicated 4 times there, but then when we look, we have 4 different items in that kit, and I'm getting the description on those individual items as well. So that's a real quick list again, but pulling a couple tables together to build a list that we need. I hope that takes away some of the anxiety of building your first list in SmartList Builder and gives you some ideas on quick ways you can get started and learn. Start with a simple list and then work your way up to those more complex lists as you learn all the little features and the maneuvering around in SmartList Builder. Don't start with the complex list and try and build it from scratch. Start with step 1, add your first table, get your fields, make sure that all works, then grow from there. Do each little individual step, checking it along the way to make sure it works. You don't want to build the whole thing out, come back and realize it doesn't work and don't know if it was step 2 or step 30 that broke it. Let's start and take it in simple baby steps and build it. You can also duplicate lists so that you can have that basic list. It's not broken, it works for where it's at. We can duplicate it, now add some more stuff to it, see if it works, and keep duplicating it as we know it's working so we don't break it at some point and not have a starting point to go back to. You can also export them if that's easier for you, whichever way you want to do that. But take that first step and get started. That's really what it takes, and let us know along the way if you have any questions. Thank you.